Hello, everyone. Oh, that's a lot of people. Good to be here again. I think it's my first time speaking at this exact room. Funny enough, this was my first ever presentation abroad. Was exactly in this room, I think 6 years ago. So time flies, and I'm still talking about Terraform. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I hope you will learn something new about things which I'm going to talk about. So this time I want to talk about compliance and, again, open source and Terraform AWS modules and some other things. I have not so many slides today, but I have some demo. I have pretty stable internet, I hope. And I also want to make it as useful for the audience as possible. So if you see something what is not clear, or you want to ask questions, or you want to just ask about OpenTOF versus Terraform, okay, please don't. But anyway, if you have any questions, we can talk about it. So who am I? My name is Anton Babenko, and for many years I've been doing quite a lot of things in the open source. And so far I enjoy it. Well, most of the time I enjoy it. But over the time, I just realized that writing Terraform AWS modules, which people download quite a lot, is good and is fun, and I like it, really. But then I figure out that there are a lot of other things which can be useful, so I figure out that doing serverless on AWS with Terraform is kind of hard. So I decided to simplify it a bit, and that's how serverless TF project started. So just to get some understanding of this audience, I think I know, but I just kind of want to see if there are people who don't use any of these projects. Raise your hand. Okay, everybody. So nobody is using Google, right? Okay, well, that's pretty good. So yeah, okay, so no Azure user, no Google user in this room. Interesting. Well, okay. So yeah, thank you very much for using some of these projects, and hopefully you learn some of it because, well, over many years I spent probably thousands of hours working on open source stuff. But then at some point I realized that I do a lot of things in the open source, and then I still leave a lot of work for the practitioners who need to put this into regulated environments. And when I say regulated environments, that's where compliance and different regulation frameworks come into action. Some time ago, a friend of mine, Natalie, inspired me to start working on the missing bit, which is compliance.tf. And this will be the essence of the talk. What is a missing bit? It's like you take open source and then you spend a lot of time doing, again, the same undifferentiated heavy lifting because you are solving problems which you should not have been solving in the first place. So that was the idea for compliance.tf. Also, if you like to learn about kind of Terraform and how different tools work and how you can do certain things, I encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which hopefully will reach 10,000 subscribers, maybe in 2025 if I continue live streaming. But I think this is really the place where I wanted to share and show something by doing. Also, if you like to read things, please subscribe to Terraform Weekly newsletter, which I publish every Wednesday. And I include articles which are a little bit beyond getting started. So you will never see article how to start EC2 instance or how to do very common things. Because I think it's already, we are beyond this kind of type of content. So please subscribe if you want to learn more. So what is Terraform AWS modules? This is like the main project which I've been working for many years. In essence, it's something what people download extremely often. And a lot of people rely on it on their critical infrastructure. But it's just a collection of open source terraform-aws modules for common services. We have more than 50 repositories right now, and we cover vast majority of popular services, VPC and EKS being like the most common one. The way I survive is that, of course, I write code, and then people pay for this. People pay either for consultancy or they donate their time and their money. So thanks a lot for pretty much everyone who is not even included into this image, but that's pretty much how I've been doing it. So if you like what I've been doing, don't hesitate to forward this image to your employer, because I want employers to pay for this. It's really surprising that a lot of companies use it, receive enormous value, but they don't pay back. Shame on them. Okay, enough about things which I've been doing before, because I think what is actually the interesting part, as I said, is to provide value for someone who wants to put this into a regulated industry. They want to stay compliant. They want to spend less time on fixing something what is not what is not their core business. They need to take care about security more. They need to learn much more about different compliance frameworks and so on. For most people, this is not their core business. So agenda for this talk will be pretty straightforward. I will talk a little bit about what is compliance, like for those who don't know what is it, and then I will walk through a compliance process just by explaining what is actually the process looks like. And then I will demonstrate how we can implement certain compliance controls, and I will also show what is compliance DF. So in essence, compliance is just a way to prove to your clients that they can trust their data to your company. That's pretty much it. Like, there is no rocket science. And again, compliance is not something what just you have to do. Compliance is shared responsibility, as everything what we have with cloud provider. We are responsible for what we put on the cloud, while cloud provider is responsible for everything what they provide to us, which is like hardware, software, compute, storage, and all kind of things beneath. We are responsible for our customer data, for our application, for our operation system, and so on. What are compliance frameworks? Again, it's not rocket science, and I don't want to say that I'm kind of revealing the truth here. Compliance framework is just a set of structured guidelines. Somebody decided and grouped them and say like, oh, you need to follow these guidelines, and then we will give you a badge. Pretty much it. No rocket science. While they focus on managing risk and improving security most of the time. That's why they consist of different security controls, and the goal of all of this is just to meet legal and regulatory obligations. You may think about them as being not one fit all, but they usually very different by industry and by risk management, what you can accept to lose and for how long, and what are the access criteria to different parts of your infrastructure. So which one of frameworks to choose? Well, if we look into what types of frameworks are available there, we can think about something what I really like to start thinking about it is that CIS, which is Center for Internet Security, has several generations of framework controls which can be enforced. But what I like to think about it is that I want pretty much everybody to start using CIS without even understanding that they do this. Because to my mind, most of CIS controls are common sense. They're not like, you need to do some extra things. It's something what is really good to follow. You will have very little drawback. your bill will not increase significantly because you suddenly enable services which you didn't want to enable and you wanted to save money. So it's pretty good starting point. And it also will provide you a very good starting point if you want to chase other frameworks like SOC 2, which is funny enough, but it was created not by security professionals, but by accountants. Funny, right? Accountant organization tell us what to do. Okay, if they want us to follow this, fine, we can follow 50 controls and then we'll get this badge. But again, different frameworks, if we're in Europe, we may think about GDPR, where personal data and how it is handled is the core content of this compliance framework. Or if we're dealing with credit card data, then PCI DSS is obviously the standard one. Now let's talk about compliance process and how this process typically look like. Once we understand that, okay, we cannot be responsible for everything, something will be happening by AWS, something will happen by, or let's say will have to be implemented by us, fine. Then we understand what kind of framework we want to chase, we understand what kind of standards we need to follow. Then we have to run some sort of compliance posture tool, for example, Security Hub or Prowler. For those who don't know, Prowler is maybe somebody from Prowler even in this room, so thank you very much for this great project. I will try to run it locally and show that it's actually extremely useful if you are going to this process and you don't know what exactly is your posture, like what exactly is there, what has to be fixed, and Prowler can show it to you. Also, SteamPipe and Cloud Query, these are very good projects, which many of these projects are available as open source. You can run them yourself, and you will see what kind of infrastructure resources you will have to take care of, and what is the violation as of now. So once you see this posture, you need to implement these fixes. Obviously, you can go in UI and you can do ClickOps. Good luck with that. Maybe you want to do it a little bit more straightforward. You will want to put it into your infrastructure as code. And to do that, you will have to do a lot of reading, a lot of understanding, like what is this control, what kind of resource affected. Then we'll try to identify in your infrastructure configuration, like, okay, where is this specific resource created, in which repository, which project, and so on. So good luck doing archaeologist job. All of this will have to be implemented, and it will take some time. So if you do this step fine enough, then you will not have to worry about your auto-remediation, because it will be implemented with some sort of drift detection, and you will run this drift detection process like next time, and it will tell you like, oh, now new resource pop up and it's not compliant, or you change something what was working well, now it's not compliant anymore, so you need to go and fix it. If you do this as infrastructure as code, obviously you have significantly better traction, and you will be able to do this automatically. And once you think that everything is good, then you ask companies who are doing audits, like, hey, can you take a look into my infrastructure? And you provide like something like 50 different documents to them, explaining your policies about different other things not related to the infrastructure. So once you have all of this, fine, you are good to go. So now let's talk about how to implement different required controls. So if you are familiar with tools like Checkov and Trivi, or TFSec, or Terrascan, or Kix, there are many different types of tools. Then you're already in a good shape, right? You can put into your pipeline any of these tools, and it will tell you that, oh, now your infrastructure is about to create or modify bad resource. So, for example, if you put Chekhov in the pipeline, it will scan your infrastructure configuration files, and it will tell that your infrastructure is trying to create unsecure or unprotected or public S3 bucket, for example. And you can see that that's not what you want, and you will fix it inside of your pull request. So this shift left trend is pretty common, and to my mind, that's the only right way to do it. Why you should fix something later if you can fix it at the beginning. So once you run these tools, then you have to, again, review your configurations, and you have to understand the results of these tools, and you need to apply certain fixes. There can be quite a lot of different fixes, which are not easy to understand, just because there are many different ways to write this configuration code. Think about this, that when you create infrastructure resources, you're not specifying just as like true or false. You can also provide inputs to different resources as output from different modules, from different data sources, and so on. So it can be quite complicated things. Most of these tools will fail if you, well, not most, all of them will fail if you provide something what is not known as a result of the execution. So, for example, if you provide Terraform code where input to some argument is output of another resource, then most of these tools will say like, or will provide probably false positive, which will be pretty bad because you can create something insecure. Once you apply this configuration, so you apply this remediation steps, then you are pretty good to go. Another approach is that you don't do this learning and don't go through this process kind of yourself and try to understand all of these controls and try to become an expert in this because, well, you're probably going to do this once, maybe twice, but it's not something what you suddenly want to become an expert. Maybe you will, but for most people, that's not their business, first of all. So that's where compliance TF is coming. So steps, when I was making these slides, I was hesitant to put errors between these like 4 different phases. And the reason for that is that it really depends on which phase or which process you are right now. So as I mentioned earlier, you run some tool to identify problems. So you run Chekhov, for example. Then you fix all of your non-compliant resources inside your infrastructure's code files, right? So that's what typical DevSecOps process and pipelines are about. So you fix them, then you open pull request, and then somehow you apply these changes. Like all of this is pretty common, right? Nothing really new here. What is going to happen after that is that you're going to introduce another tool which will run your scan of your cloud resources afterwards, and it will constantly monitor and constantly tell that, oh, something is deviating from this, from the initial configurations. And that's where Prowler is a great tool, because it's very lightweight and it can run on your local machine or on any centralized machine, or they have SaaS offering, which means that you can run this very quickly and provide nice dashboard to your colleagues. Yeah, and you can start this process pretty much from any place. So you can start by scanning your resources, scanning your cloud resources, and then you can identify, okay, how these resources are connected to your configuration files and so on. Again, you will have to do a lot of fixes of these resources yourself. And this is something what, if we think about if this is something what all of us have to do, then probably it has to be centralized and few people have to do it because it will be more efficient. Next slide is probably for demo. I hope you like to see code as much as I like writing it. Okay, good, right. Okay, so what I want to show here is this compliance TF demo folder, and there I have main TF file. So this is just a typical Terraform configuration where I create CloudFront distribution, and I create S3 bucket, and I create ACM certificate. All of this is called in terraform-aws-modules. So once I run this code, this CloudFront distribution will be connected to bucket and certificate. Very simple, very straightforward. Again, that's not the point. I'm using terraform-aws-modules for this one. If I run checkoff now, checkoff start crashing approximately last week with some like Python error in the middle. So hopefully it will not crash today, but who knows? I think it was related to the latest version of Python, 3.13. Something is not compatible there. But OK, anyway, I run checkoff now. And on these configuration files, I can see that there are two checks which are failing. One check, which is ensuring that CloudFront distributions viewer protocol policy is set to HTTPS. And another one is about certificate is using TLS 1.2. So what does the typical process look like? If I look into just this error here, the way for me to fix it is that I need to understand what is it exactly, right? How can I do this? I mean, I see this piece of code. I go to Google, and I search for this error message. Or I go to Prisma Cloud documentation, and I find this article. So that's what I found. I look at this article, and I understand, OK, this is a description, and this is piece of code. And this piece of code is for this resource. OK, I think I understand what I should be doing. So now I need to find this resource. And this resource is obviously inside of terraform-aws-module. But anyway, I get the point that I need to specify that minimum protocol version is this one. OK, makes sense. I like that. And I find that inside of this module block, there is view resource. And I can specify this minimum protocol version. So that's what I do. I specify this protocol version. And if I run checkoff now, because, again, imagine that I'm running this in the pipeline. I want to get rid of all of these failures. Right, so I fixed one of these problems. I specified minimum protocol version to this one. So what I have right now is that I found problem, I found failing control, and I fixed it by providing this value. Now I imagine that I fixed the second error in the same way, and then I push it and apply it. And then next developer come and they take a look into this code, and then they say, oh, I don't want to use this one. I mean, I don't care about this minimum protocol version. And they have a way to, let's say, comment out this thing. Or they have a way to provide something what is not compliant. That's not what we want them to be able to do in the first place. We want them to be able to always use compliant-ready modules as a baseline and provide and customize only things which make sense for them to be customized. So that's like the whole goal which we want to do, right? At least I want to do. I don't want to give people like, hey, this is a module. You can customize 100% of things, and this is how you can customize. But if you don't customize it, I don't blame you. No, I actually don't want you to even have possibility to do that. So the way to do that, like how to prevent them, is that instead of sourcing the Terraform-aws module from the official Terraform registry, I can source them from registry compliance TF. I have previously logged in to this Terraform registry using Terraform login command, and I authenticate it. I provided my OAuth token, and it's native integration. So I can do this in the pipeline as well. So then when I have to do this, I run terraform init, and it downloads this module. And you can see that it was able to download this module from this registry compliance endpoint. And if I run checkoff now, I should be able to see that this minimum protocol version is already specified. So no matter what I'm going to provide here, if it's TLS 1.2, which is not secure, then when I run checkoff, it will still say that, no, it will not say, but that's because checkoff is, is kind of awkwardly configured this way. There is another parameter in checkoff, which is not very well documented, but it's called checkoff experimental managed module. I think this is it. Let's see if it will work this time. No, it didn't help. But OK, anyway, it's work in progress, so you can imagine. So what I wanted to say is that instead of giving developers possibility to shoot themselves like in the foot and say like, oh, I still want to use insecure things, it is simply impossible to provide any value, because inside of module, this parameter is hard-coded. And this parameter is hard-coded not inside of default value of the variable, which means that, oh, if you don't specify it, then we use this default value. No, it's hard-coded physically inside of resource. There is no way. I mean, we don't simply care about what user will specify inside of this property, because this property should not be respected in the first place. So this is the way how this can be done using checkoff. If I now run this code and imagine that, where is it? Yes, here. No, this one. Yeah, so I run this code with terraform-aws module, and I have created this resource before this demo. So what I can run now is that I can run command crawler, and here I will make it a little bit bigger. So I can run crawler AWS, and I can specify that I want to scan only for certain services, S3, CloudFront, and ACM, just to make things bigger, quicker. And after that, I want to show dashboard. So what will happen now? Of course, crawler will complain that credentials are missing. So we can fix it. If I now... Everybody wants new credential. Why? OK, let's see. Right, so I provided valid credentials, and now crawler is executing 36 checks for all of these 3 services. And it also created dashboards for me here. So if I go to the dashboard, I can see that this infrastructure, which has been created, has these checks, some of them passing, some of them failing. And as you can imagine, I will have to do quite a lot of job to understand which of these framework, or not framework, check are actually important for my compliance, or what is the matching between these. There is a tab called compliance. I can go here and I can select different framework for this one. If I select this one, I will see a little bit better understanding of what kind of controls are failing, and I can go and try to fix them inside of code. If I do this like here, I can see that the fix which I have just applied somewhere here. It's a bit tricky to find, but I guess, well, I don't even remember what was the name of it. TLS. Yeah, this one. So CloudFront distribution should use custom certificate. No, it's not this one. Well, anyway, one of these check, you see, even for me, it's hard to figure out because all of these tools have different name of checks. I'm much more comfortable with AWS config for this one. So once I have identified which check I need to fix, for S3, common things is that we want to have, let's say, secure transport policy. We need to understand this one. We need to understand quite a lot of things like how this finding can be remediated. And we can read official documentation. In most cases, it's the best source of information. And then we need to fix it inside of code. Or, as I mentioned earlier, we can proxy it from Terraform compliance, which will be able to rewrite terraform-aws-modules almost in real time with fixed and hard-coded and secure default values for resources affected. So once I have this, information in Prowler, let's see, yeah. So the next thing which I want to show here is that if I now run terraform apply, terraform apply, okay, and I specify that I want to use this. It also wants new credential. So here I can see that the value which was used before was TLS version 1, and the new version, which is hard-coded inside of module by compliance TF, is 1.2 2018. So that's what I wanted. So if I run this code, it will apply this change pretty quickly. And if I run Prowler now, Prowler will literally ask AWS API for the description, and it will be able to see if there are any changes. So I run this code now, and if I go to dashboard, I should be able, well, that was a thing which you used to see. There were 16 of good checks, and now there are 17 of good checks. Isn't it amazing? I think that's amazing. Well, if you would know how much time it took me to achieve this, you wouldn't laugh. But OK, if this was not impressive, let's talk about AWS config. So what I can do if I'm all in AWS, then there is a pretty good service which most of us enable, but not a lot of us are actually using it for different things. I'm talking about AWS config. So inside of AWS config, we are able to create rules to watch different properties. There are a lot of managed rules, and most of these managed rules are already grouped by frameworks. So you can see what kind of controls in AWS config you should satisfy in order to be compliant, or in order to be not compliant right away, but in order to have infrastructure in the state which will look like ready for audit. In my case, currently you can see that this resource is not compliant, there is a way to create all of these rules and managed rules using Terraform. So you can think about it as you are creating, let's say, CloudFront bucket, and you're also enabling AWS config rules to watch status of it. And then as soon as this status changes, you can do some action, like sending email, sending to Slack, or whatever. This is very kind of straightforward integration. Maybe it's not very scalable, but at least it's OK. So I was able to create this resource, when was it? Yesterday evening, and it was non-compliant. Now I have applied this code, and if I go to this resource now, it says that it's compliant, which means that Terraform apply, which I just executed, was successful. The cool part in AWS config is that it's very quick in response. Not like instant quick, but it's like 1 minute, maybe 4 minutes for different things. And I think it's a very good overview as well, because if you have a lot of rules, like in this case I have only one, then you can easily see what kind of status of your checks are. And all of this is, again, built in inside of AWS. You don't pay for rules so often because you can configure how frequently you execute them, or you can execute them on demand. Many different options for that one. But if you like to run things, let's say, in isolation or in different restricted environments, you can run Prowler, especially if you have different AWS, Azure, and GCP. As I asked at the beginning, nobody is using Azure and GCP. Good. And AWS is not paying me to say this. Yeah, exactly. They should. But OK. Yeah, so that was pretty much it. I think I wanted to show something else, but it failed to compile last night, so imagine that it works. Yeah, it's kind of work in progress, as everything what I do. But yeah, well, I think that's it about demo. If you have any question, give me a couple more minutes, and you'll be able to ask me any question. I have probably one more slide. After the demo, who likes slides, right? So this was the ultimate goal, that we have Terraform code, we fix it ourselves, or we use compliance TF proxy, and it fixes it for us. And we have something green. When we have everything green, it means like we collected all Pokemons. We can talk to auditor and say, like, hey, it's all green. Check it out right now before it becomes red. And if you are quick enough, then in a few weeks, you'll get a report that welcome to account and space. Now you are SOC 2 audit. OK, who wants to be this? Right? So I really hope that most of you want to be like on the top image, right? I'm glad that I'm not near this picture because I'm already 40. But I'm just thinking that most of us really want to have a simple life in a sense that we go to work, we write Terraform code, we happily deploy it somewhere, and we don't go deeper like, oh my God, control automation, NIST 853, like, oh, what are all of these controls? Oh, I need to fix it here and there. Well, it's not something what we should be proud of achieving. Like, I mean, of course, that somebody has to do this, and maybe we'll have to pay for that one. Fine, but I want to continue focusing on what drives value for myself, for my business, for my company, and so on. That's why I want that most of us belong to top folder and not to the bottom one. But I really like this guy on the bottom. I think it reminds me sometimes. Yeah. Was it love? OK. Yeah, compliance TF has scheduled release this year, but yeah, life is hard, so we'll see. If anyone is going to AWS reInvent in 2 weeks, then yeah, probably you will hear about it there. And yeah, that's it from me. I don't know how much time I have, but questions are more than welcome.
Yeah, we're a bit out of time, but let's do some of these. So you obviously talked a lot about Chekhov at the beginning, middle of the talk. But people are complaining, and I agree that it's an ever-moving, so it's hard to follow all the changes, right? So what is your approach with that? I mean, or like, how can we work with that? If it's possible, yeah, because... You know.
Well, everything is moving. Yeah. And some of these things are not only moving, but they break on the middle. Yeah. I'm talking about Chekhov. So it was working fine, and then at some point, it just started to introduce so many breaks, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I use it in pipeline, upgrading small things, just break it in half. I have no clue how to fix it. I mean, of course, I will be able to fix it by just using previous version, but that's not, again, not something what I want people to work on and spending a lot of time. In general, what I like to think is that as soon as you find a tool which works for you, it can be not Chekhov or not a tool which you run early on, like when you shift left and you run something before you apply code. You can start with introducing something on the AWS account level, like AWS config or crawler, something what will scan your actual resources. It's also a good starting point to my mind. But doing this on the very left, like in the browser as you type, is ideal. So as you type something, you should tell, like, oh my God, you're about to commit code which will be insecure. That's great. That's something what Chekhov's supposed to be doing. And they do it, but with like average success, I would say. There are a lot of things which none of these tools are able to provide that they cannot evaluate the value side, like right side of the equation. If you specify static value, everything will work. But if you use some interpolation, some terraform syntaxes, many of these tools will simply do like, oh my God, that's true. Like, no, it's not true. It's big HCL expression with a bunch of functions in it. So there is no easy way to evaluate it. Chekhov is trying to do this, but yeah, it's not doing very effective
Let's do a final one, because most of them you answered during your talk. So do you also think that the integration with AWS SAM CLI with Terraform is not very widely adopted? And then what's your opinion on the health of serverless TF project concerning this? Well, you can read it here. I mean.
Well, serverless TF, if you want to know more about serverless TF, please go to my talk at reInvent. I will be talking...
Not everybody can travel there, man.
Yeah, no, because this is not kind of related to this one. But integration, SAM CLI, and Terraform does not seem widely adopted. I kind of agree that it's not widely adopted, and I kind of support that it's not widely adopted because it's a nightmare to use. Like, I was participating in the creation of it, and as soon as I'm done, I never use it, and I don't recommend anyone using it. So yeah, SAM CLI lives its own life, parallel to reality, and Terraform lives its own life. In serverless TF project, we have the same functionality which SAM CLI has in order to build and manage and secure serverless application on AWS. So yeah, I wouldn't use SAM CLI with Terraform. That's
all right. Yeah, there were lots of questions, but most of them were answered at the end of your talk. So thanks a lot, folks, and see you after lunch. Hope you have a good one. Thank you, Anton.
Thank you.